I'm Juan Francisco, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm here with you to explore your intuition, the supernatural, and self-empowerment. This is Third Eyesight. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Third Eyesight. I'm really looking forward to today's episode because I think it's so important. It is 101, but many of us forget to do this, including myself. And this is about spiritually protecting yourself. Being human is to encounter challenges in life. Challenges usually come up because we are with or around some challenging people. Maybe we're learning a lesson for ourselves that feels a little challenging through people that we find challenging, through situations we find challenging. So it's important to keep up our spiritual hygiene. So in this episode, I'm going to go over why it's important to spiritually protect yourself. Some examples of situations where you may want to think about protecting yourself spiritually. And I'm going to also go through an exercise with you to find your own spiritual protective symbol. I recently did this with a client, and it seemed to go over really well and really helped them to find that vision, that symbol, or that feeling they can call back, that they can call back into their psyche, into their body, when they feel like they want to spiritually protect themselves when they're in a situation. So we're going to go through that exercise at the very end of the episode. So stay with me, okay? So first, let's go over why it's important to spiritually protect yourself. It's the same reason that we should care for our bodies and our minds. We want to have hygiene of the mind, clear minds, hygiene of the body, nourish our body so it can do the things that we want it to do, or so it can do things that we want to aim to do, whether it's going to the gym, eating certain types of food to help your body do what it needs to do, to process things as it needs to, going for a daily walk, whatever it means to you for your body to feel well, doing that thing to help it do its thing. And then for spiritual hygiene, it's also about balance, as if other kinds of hygiene too that I just listed. Finding that balance where you are challenging yourself, letting your soul feel the challenges of life, because that's how we're going to grow as a soul, as a person, right? But also caring for that part of you so that it's not overwhelmed by the challenges. Again, going back to a gym metaphor, you go to the gym to push yourself, and muscles are tearing when you are doing an effective workout, an effective weightlifting workout at the gym. That's how muscles grow. That's how you get stronger. Same idea. Our soul's going to go through challenges. That's normal. That's natural. That's how I think it's supposed to be on a soul level. But how are we taking care of our souls while we are going through the challenges? How are you taking care of your muscles in that recovery period after the gym session, right? And another thing that I want to say about, the reason it's important to protect yourself spiritually, it's because we are rivers. We are not reservoirs. I took that from somewhere. I thought it was brilliant. Things flow through us, not just into us. We are not receptacles, just receiving other people's stuff and opinions and ideas and energies. We're not meant to collect all these things and keep them here with ourselves. We are meant to channel. We are all channelers. You are a channeler. It's kind of like you're a mirror, not a sponge. You're not here to just absorb people's crap and absorb their energies. You're here to reflect it back to them, and sometimes be a funhouse mirror. You get to determine how you reflect it back to them. You have a lot of decision here as to what you do with people's energy. And this is where spiritual protection comes in. And it's not about seeing everyone out there as your enemy and putting yourself on a pedestal like, the world is against me, right? That's not an empowered approach, right? We want an empowered approach to spiritual hygiene, not seeing other people as the enemy or other people as being the ruiners of your energy. This is really about taking ownership of your energy, protecting it from other people's energies, not so much just putting the burden on other people or envisioning that there's a burden on other people to keep you safe. It's taking ownership for yourself. And it's also not seeing the world as your enemy. Does that make sense? So, what are examples of situations where you might want to spiritually protect yourself? It can be before you go out to a bar or to a club to go dancing, to go drinking, Do whatever it is you're going to do. Could be while you're at the bar, at the club. In those spaces, there's a lot of different kinds of energy. Some people are there to socialize and meet new people. Some people are there to celebrate a birthday of a friend. Some people are there because they're really desperate and feel lonely and they want to meet somebody to hook up with for the night, or to kiss, or to go on a date with eventually. There's so many different energies in a bar or a club, right? The workplace. Maybe we have a challenging coworker. Maybe there's a group of challenging coworkers. Maybe our team is not easy to work with. Maybe our boss rubs us the wrong way, I mean to say. There's something tense between you and your boss. Family gatherings, reunions. Not all of us are blessed or privileged to have families we get along very well with. What if we have a family gathering that we want to go to, or we feel like we should go to, which is a whole other story, but we don't want to feel bogged down by the opinions, by the statements they make, by the vibe they give off. Maybe there's a history with a family member that you feel uncomfortable about, but you feel like you have to go to this gathering. These are all examples. But there doesn't have to be anything uncomfortable for you to spiritually protect yourself either. How about just waking up in the morning and just doing it? How about just starting your day protecting yourself spiritually? Not because there's anything bad going on, not because there is, shit hitting the fan, because it's just routine. Just like going to the gym, just like eating a healthy, nutritious breakfast. It's routine. Instead of waiting for something to hit the fan to then spiritually protect ourselves. Which you can do that too, but why not make it routine? Now, when it comes to spiritual protection and what that can look like, there's the very popular, imagine a ball of white light surrounding your body. Imagine a white light in the middle of your chest that grows and covers your whole body. Imagine a pink bubble. I've heard people talk about pink bubbles, and a white light from the top of your head dropping into your body down to the soles of your feet. These are things that I personally do. I imagine a white light surrounding my body, or white light entering the top of my head and going down my main 7 chakras down to the soles of my feet. That's how I protect and ground myself. But I'm going to teach you how to find your own protective spiritual symbol. A client last month, it's a client that I'm working with as a spiritual coach, wanted to build a routine or some way to spiritually protect themselves. And I walked them through this exercise, which I'm going to walk you through. So, if you are driving, ladies, gentlemen, and did I just say gentlemen's? And I'm an English major. Ladies, gentlemen, and theys, if you are driving, we're going to ignore my bad English grammar. If you are driving listening to this podcast episode, please do not close your eyes. You can do this with your eyes open, watching the road. If you are somewhere stationary, not moving, feel free to close your eyes if you want to. If you're stationary, not moving, you don't have to close your eyes, but you're welcome to. Relax. Breathe normally. No need to think too much about your breath or your inhales or your exhales. Breathe normally in your relaxed state. Now, I want you to take 3 deep breaths with me. In your nose, out your mouth. Inhale. Inhale number 2. Inhale number 3. And now go back to your relaxed state of breathing, not thinking too hard about it. You just reset your breath with those 3 breaths. We're going to focus on the feeling of protection. When I ask you these questions, hold on to the first thing that comes to mind. And if you want to, write these down later. Imagine you are in the essence of protection. You feel so protected right now. You feel so safe. An image pops up symbolizing that safety. What is that image? First thing that comes to mind. What's that image? Remember that image. Come back to just the essence of protection, the essence of safety. You're basking in that essence. You're tasting something that symbolizes protection. What does protection taste like? I know that sounds bizarre, but stick with me. What does safety taste like? First thing that comes to mind. You got it? Hold on to it. Remember it. Remember the taste. Now let it go. Again, you feel safe. You feel protected. You hear protection. You hear safety. What does it sound like? You heard a sound of safety and protection. What is that sound? Hold on to it. Remember it. And let it go. Back in that essence, back in that ambiance. You're protected. You're safe. What does protection, what does safety feel like in touch or a sensation? Maybe it's a temperature. Maybe it's a texture, something textural. What does safety feel like to you? Remember it, and now let it go. And once more, we're basking in safety, basking in protection. You feel safe and grounded right where you are. What does that smell like? What does safety smell like? What does protection smell like? Hold on to that for a moment. That scent, that smell. Remember it. And now let it go. We're going to take 3 breaths, just like before. Inhale, exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose for 1. Inhale 2. Inhale 3. Now breathe normally. And we're back. Now, it's easy to pick up that I went through the 5 senses, right? Smell, touch, hear, see, feel. When you feel like you want to spiritually protect yourself, bring yourself back to the symbol or the feeling that felt the strongest to you. Maybe you heard the sound of ocean waves. Maybe you smelled your grandmother's apple pie when you thought of feeling safe and protected. Maybe you saw a chain link fence. Whatever it is that came to mind, the next time you feel a little unsafe emotionally or unsafe spiritually, think about that chain link fence. Call it back and breathe with it. Think about your grandmother's apple pie and breathe with it. Maybe you felt a wool sweater. Maybe that felt safe to you, or a wool blanket. Remember what it felt like to think about that wool blanket when you want to spiritually protect yourself, and breathe with it and feel empowered in that. I hope that helps. I know it felt a little bizarre for some of you to think, smell. What does safety smell like? But this is tapping into our different clairs, our different strengths. For some of us, we pick up on spiritual cues from the other side, or we tap into our intuition best through seeing things in our mind's eye. For others, it's smelling things. For others, it's tasting something. So this is to help you determine which one felt the strongest to you and tapping into that. And bonus, let's say for you, the smell was the strongest out of the 5 things you felt or saw or experienced. Maybe you have a clair. Maybe your strongest clair is through scent. You pick up on smells easily from the other side. Maybe you pick up on scents that give you messages day to day or once in a while. That's something to think about. So whatever felt the strongest to you, feel free to explore that sense, that one of the 5 senses, as maybe the way you interpret messages from the other side, from your spirit guides, from your intuition. That's the bonus here. To put a bow on this episode, something I want to say that's really, really important is that doing spiritual protection like this, I want to be clear, it's not a solution for very real physical danger or for mental health disorders. And I always say, as someone like myself who grew up with a mental health disorder and has OCD, not everything has a solution that can be answered by, not everything is a spiritual exercise solution, is what I mean to say. Some things require us to take real physical action. Like if someone's coming at us, I don't expect you to just sit there and think about the chain link fence. If someone's coming at you, do what you need to do to get yourself out of physical danger, please. And if you struggle with a mental health disorder like I have, seek a professional for help. These spiritual exercises can live alongside other modalities and other techniques. We don't have to just do these spiritual exercises and spiritual protection. We can do spiritual protection and see a therapist. Do spiritual protection and not let anyone mess with us on the subway. It's okay. It's okay to be both. And it's actually healthy to be both, because the last thing I want to encourage is you to not do something for yourself in the physical world when there's real danger for you. So please take care of yourself. Please remember that. And another thing is, just remember that this is not meant to paint the world as an enemy or as an energy suck, right? Life can be challenging sometimes. And what we can do is center ourselves back to a place of empowerment. So we take, again, ownership for our energy, what we put out there. Ownership for how we take care of ourselves while we're going through the stuff that life throws at us, right? And by doing that, we build for ourselves a safe sanctuary within our bodies, within our souls, that we can come back to, reminding ourselves, okay, I am safe. Things are going on, but where I am here with myself, I am safe with myself. I can rely on myself. That's the point of this. And it's also meant to kind of deflect energies that may come at you from other people. And it's not about doing it out of fear, like, oh, I'm afraid of this person's energy. That may play a factor. That may be a factor as you start to spiritually protect yourself, as you start getting used to doing it. But after a certain amount of time, it's going to be so routine for you that, out of sight, out of mind, other people's issues, they don't even bother you anymore. You're just going to let them have their issues, let them have their moments. And in the meanwhile, you're just going to clean out your spiritual hygiene. Just cleaning your side of the street. That's all you got to do. That's their side of the street. It may not look so pretty, but it has no impact really on your side of the street. Just keep yours clean. So I hope that helps. Let me know how that helps you. If you feel like you have, if you have some feedback about it, or you have instances or examples of when you spiritually protected yourself, I would love to hear it. Remember to share this with a friend if you feel like a friend would really love to hear more about psychic stuff, coaching, life coaching, self-help. Share it with a friend, subscribe, and please rate the podcast. It would really help if you gave me a rating, be honest, because more people will then see the podcast. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. This podcast is really about helping you trust your own intuition and step into your power. If you'd like to work with me directly, you can learn more at juanfrancisco.co. That's juanfrancisco.co. And please remember to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend.